Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Elena Fox Starks. Hey guys, I hope you're doing really well in this moment in time, and that whenever and wherever you happen to be on this time stone planet, that you are able to come up with new goals of creativity. Continuing our theme of the week, goals, I have been thinking today about creativity. In fact, I was watching earlier a really incredibly fascinating episode of Ancient Civilizations on Gaia, which you could go to Gaia.com. There's also an app. And I think I paid $82 for the year to be able to watch these amazing shows. I love these shows. And they were talking about Stonehenge, and they were talking about how they've discovered if you go inside the circle of Stonehenge and you draw in the dirt in the very center various symbols. So if you draw a circle, like a pentacle, basically a circle with the 5-pointed star in it, and you dedicate it to the goddess, and you want to tap into your personal creativity, the points of the stars will point to various stones in Stonehenge, and they will be activated by your drawing and your conscious effort and attention. And if you did that, you would be more creative. And I started thinking about that, and I mean, that episode of Stonehenge, that blew my mind. Ancient Civilizations, I highly recommend the show. But I started thinking about creativity, like, I'm very creative. I'm constantly creating. I mean, I'm doing a show 5 times a week, so that's complete creation. And in my idle moments, when I wake up in the morning or I go to bed at night, I'm constantly and forever creating new ideas, new and improved ways to live my life, things I want to do in the future. The other day, I even wrote a rap song. I had to get up like at 6 o'clock in the morning to write it down. I'm not a rapper. I really am not. I try. I'm terrible, but it was there in my head. I had to put it down. I had to put it down to paper. And so I'm a very creative person. In fact, I've been for a couple hours looking at this broom that I have in my room. And the handle is so boring. It's just a plain wooden handle. It's not polished. It's not finished. And I've got paint downstairs. I think I've come up with a pattern, kind of a design that I might want to put on this broom. So I'm like, oh yeah, all right, there we go. I've been looking at it for a while, for a couple months. Like, how am I going to decorate the broom? I love to paint stuff. I've got wooden spoons for cooking, and I bought extra so I could just make my art, just make my art on the handles. I love to be creative. I love to paint things. I like functional art. So, like painting stools and chairs and brooms and things that are functional, but you can make them whimsical and beautiful and make them unique pieces in your house. So for me, that's my form of creative endeavors. And we've been talking about goals all week, and there's certain goals that will fit in nicely. Everything dovetails together if you want it to. Your spiritual endeavors could also be a creative effort, like creating a maze that you walk on in your yard, like a meditative maze. Oh my gosh, what's it called? I want to say mandala, but that's not correct. My friend makes these. He's very creative, and he's been called all over the world. He's been, people have paid for his airfare and given him like thousands of dollars to create these mazes. Labyrinth, that's what it's called. He's created labyrinths all over the world. My friend, Twatrick, Patrick Bostwick is his real name. His nickname is Twatrick. He just wants people to swear when they say his name. He's disrupted TV. He's been on TV in Britain a lot as a punk rock kind of disturber, just to kind of shake people up. He's here kind of as a Heyoka, but he's like a punker, and he's the one that is behind us all having a fashion channel. He started the fashion channel, and he created the Big Book of Bop, which is the book I read you guys last year. It was, I think it was like 2 different days that I read it. It was like part 1 and part 2, and it was boop boop. So he wrote that. Well, but he's been paid thousands of dollars to go all over the world, in England, in the United States, in France, all over the place, even in Guatemala, to create labyrinths. And that could be a creative endeavor that you do. There's a lot of different things you could do to be creative, but come up with something that's going to inspire you and lift your vibration and spiritually put you in alignment with your spiritual goals. If you do this with new people, maybe you can come up with a creative endeavor that will involve many other people. What if you came up with an Organite group and you all got together on the weekends to do Organite? You could go to meetup.com or maybe it's org. I think it's meetup.org. Anyway, just go to Meetup and start your own group. And you could have this could be one of your spiritual goals, and it can also be a creative goal, as well as a high vibrational goal and a friendship goal. Why not? All the goals this week wrapped into one. So that's just one example. Organite, I did a whole episode on orgone energy and Wilhelm Reich from last year. If you want to check that out, you can just look it up on Google, look up Metaphysical Soul Speak, the podcast, and Wilhelm Reich or Organite, and you should be able to come up with that. If not, let me know. DM me at mermaidgirl888 on Instagram, and I will let you know what date I put that one out. So there are many different ways to express your creativity, of course. What if you danced to the music that's raising your vibration, but you put on a costume, or you danced with scarves instead of just plain without anything? You know, there are different ways that you can express yourself in this world. And if you are able to do it right, you're going to feel better, and you're going to feel amazing and inspired, raising your own vibration and possibly meeting your spiritual goals. And when you have your creativity intact and you feel amazing with that, you will draw more people to you, and thereby you will create possibly more friendships. Like I said, if you do this with people, you will create a bigger bond with people, and that can help you with your friendship goals or relationship goals. So that was just my 2 cents today. Basically, I wanted to get into the report of UFOs. I haven't done this in a while, and there have been so many that I wanted to add the UFO report in today. So let's see, where were we here? Yeah, on YouTube, if you go to Only Real UFOs, you can actually see footage of these. So I'm going to go back about a week just so I could tell you. I think, yeah, and it's actually been maybe 2 weeks since I've done a UFO report on just basically where people have seen the UFOs. These are mostly like the Pleiadian lightships. Let's see. I think I talked about the ones over Florida, Poland, and Whittier, California, which is over a week ago. In fact, there's been more UFOs over Poland. 2 weeks ago, there was a Tic Tac UFO over Delhi, India. Also, and I did talk about the Philadelphia one. So, yeah, it's been a little bit over a week that I haven't really done a UFO report. So, in Treasure Island, Florida, they're not sure. It could be an IFO. They weren't really certain, but there was a really weird UFO over Whittier, California. There was another one over Poland. In fact, there's been a couple over Poland now. In Aurora, Ohio, they saw an orange glowing UFO. There was a Tic Tac shaped UFO over Kinlochard in Scotland. In Long Beach, California, there was multiple UFOs flashing their lights. And Poland in Trzasaz, I don't even know how to say that word. They said they're not really sure if it's an IFO or a UFO. You decide. There was a fleet of UFOs 6 days ago over Nagasaki, Japan. They look like Pleiadian lightships to me. There was a UFO spotted while observing the moon. That was 5 days ago. Now, this is not the only time this has happened. In fact, someone was observing the moon a couple weeks ago and saw an explosion on the moon. These are things that are never going to be in the news, but they actually recorded it. So, very, very odd. San Ramon, California, saw a really strange UFO. I watched this one. I don't even know what to make of it. It was flashing all the different colors, like green, cyan, blue, yellow, orange, red. Very, very weird. And it's almost like there's a base and then there's lights are coming out like a light show. Definitely wasn't a drone or anything like that. It was a UFO for sure. But it's like a peacock green is the picture in the video that they captured. But it was flashing over and over and over again. So I don't know if this is Pleiadian or not. Pleiadian lightships tend to be like round, like just a white ball of light, but very glowy, very bright. And this, I don't even know what this is. This was crazy, the San Ramon one. But there was another UFO filmed from an aircraft, from an airplane in Colombia, here in South America. So that was pretty strange. But I'm looking at this picture, and it only looks like there's like a couple different balls of light. But I'm seeing that there's like definitely a much bigger cloaked ship. So it only looks like a small thing, but it's actually, I think, a much bigger ship. There was a Tic Tac UFO filmed over Los Angeles. I don't know who's flying the Tic Tac ships, but I have a feeling that they're all part of the Galactic Federation. So they're probably still the good guys, right? There was a UFO over the United States, Palm Springs. I don't know why I said the United States. That was weird. There was a UFO over Palm Springs 2 days ago. It might have been an IFO, but it really looks like a UFO to me. There was another one over 2 days ago over Northwest Indiana in the morning sky. And over Milpitas, California, there was a UFO. And it's pretty wild looking. It looks like it's almost like a meteor falling to the ground. So there were three God, it's really hard to see with these glasses. Three silent UFOs over Quebec, Colorado. And 11 hours ago it was reported there was another UFO over London. So that's the UFOs only from onlyrealufos.com, Only Real UFO's YouTube channel. So, I mean, it could be only a part of what's going on in the world. That's quite a bit, right? And there's footage for all of these. It's not just eyewitness accounts without footage. It's everything. So it's happening, guys. And speaking of happening, the collective card of the day from the Rebel deck, which is the Oracle with Attitude, 0 filter, 0 fucks, all fun. Open if you dare, it says. And on the back says, brace yourself. Yeah, it's kind of raw and raunchy, but there you have it. It's a super fun deck. Has a picture of a unicorn with her beautiful horn and long flowing mane, and then a bunch of stars around her, and then there's a circle with a line through it, like, you know, like it's not a fluffy bunny style deck. It says, believe what you see. That's the card we got today. Believe what you see. And that's why I decided to do the UFO report. Turn the card over and it says, face reality or live in fucking la la land. Choose bravely. Face reality or live in fucking la la land. Choose bravely. So I haven't been able to get a picture on Instagram of the first 3 days of cards. I should have taken pictures of this already. I just haven't. I've been hoping for a nice sunny day, and I think the volcano's going off again for a couple days. It's been overcast and gray and kind of depressing, but really, I could take it in artificial light, but honestly, I'm going to be honest with you guys, today was a really crazy day as far as energy. I woke up around 8:25 and I was only up for maybe 20-30 minutes, and I thought I need to go the hell back to sleep. Did not feel good. Lay back down. Talked to my girlfriend Melanie in San Diego for a little bit, and she told me she's been kind of depressed. She said, I don't know, is it depression when you start to clean your house after it's been a month and there's 8 coffee cups in your room that you didn't even bother to take to the kitchen? You know, is that depression? I'm like, that could be. That really could be. And I was feeling that a little bit, that depression energy, that kind of the melancholia. I don't normally feel it every day, but it's kind of like an old friend come a-calling. You know, those old feelings. It's very strange. And that's what a lot of 2 or 3 different people, Bacha, what is her name? I got to look it up. Hold on. I can look it up while I'm talking to you guys. She, by the way, she channels the Pleiadians, and she is a direct channel. She'll be like, I'm going to channel the Pleiadians now. Hello, greetings, la la. Yeah. It's like they instantly hop into her body. It's like crazy. She is a direct channel. And I just watched her the other, like a few hours ago. She's pretty interesting. Yeah, Bacha Goldsmith, Bracha, Bacha Goldsmith. That's her name. She is a really incredible Pleiadian channel. And she doesn't really specify who she's speaking from, you know, or for. She just says the Pleiadians. You know, so they kind of speak as a group through her. And it's been, it's pretty interesting to hear her stuff. Also, Anne of Quantum Heart Living, she had a really interesting video too. So the Pleiadians are asking us just to have more fun and stop focusing on 3D world ideas and stuff. And in Quantum Heart Living, Anne is saying that there's been a massive shift, which we all know. Something big, really big since yesterday has been happening. I don't know about you guys. Yesterday, I was in a lot of pain. I was feeling like really just run down and overwhelmed. Tons of pain. Today, woke up and I'm having a hard time walking still. I'm having issues with kind of, I guess, arthritis. But one really weird thing happened is that I just can't even feel my body all day today. I don't know if that's a good or a bad sign. I think is better than feeling pain, obviously, but I don't know. It's like I just can't feel my body. I feel very woozy and nauseated and kind of strange. And I've done a couple really odd meditations, I guess you could say, that has changed and shifted everything. My perspective, what I'm feeling in my body. I can't really explain it or put a finger on it, but I spent a lot of time meditating today when I was awake. But I woke up at almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Like I went to bed at 8 in the morning, and 3:57 in the afternoon, I woke up. I'm like, what the hell? That's really weird. That's incredibly disorienting, to wake up like you normally get up around 9 or 10. I woke up at 8 thinking I'm going to take another nap. 1 or 2 hours, I'll be fine. They'll give me my 8 hours. If I get up at 11, I'm good. And all of a sudden, next thing I know, it's like, almost 4 in the afternoon. But I have only been sleeping 6-hour days or 6-hour nights for the whole week. So this was needed rest. I know it was needed rest, but feeling that, and with the melancholia, and my kid has been really accusatory and angry again today, which kind of like in the beginning of September. So it makes me wonder if there's not some energy coming around again, like what we had in the beginning of September. Kind of like pointing fingers at, pointing one finger and ignoring the 4 pointing back at you. I was just tired. I was exhausted, absolutely exhausted all day. And then I woke up to that energy. I was like, man, I would have gone right back to bed if I didn't have to do the show. So I'm doing this for you guys, because I'm not doing it for me tonight. That's for damn sure. I mean, if I had my way, I'd just go right back to sleep and just sleep it off until tomorrow. But a lot of people have written me in the past day or two saying they're tired, they're exhausted, they're suffering ego deaths, they're suffering shadow work has been overwhelming, and the melancholia, the depression, the intense thoughts or feelings of just, I want to end it all, I want to die. A lot of people are going through that. And it's just a passing fancy. It's just a passing notion. It's old energy coming up to be cleansed and healed. So if you're feeling that, just watch it, observe it, let it go. Just let it be. I've been nostalgic for old things. A lot of people have been saying I feel weird, like I want to watch movies like from childhood. A lot of people have been feeling that. A lot of people have been just really clamoring for old favorites, old movies, like old Halloween or holiday movies, and Hocus Pocus. I was looking for that movie today, and I saw a little video on it, and I mean, there was like hundreds of comments of people saying, one after another saying, this is from my childhood, I really missed it. And these people, they're saying it this week, in the past month, actually. So I thought that was pretty telling. I feel like everyone is feeling that way. Like we just really miss the simpler times. Back when we didn't have to be spiritually responsible for everything we do or say or think or act upon in this world right now. We just long for that safety energy of mom and dad are going to take care of everything. We don't have any bills. We don't have to work. We could stay home and watch, Christmas movies on TV or whatever. It's that kind of an energy, I myself, I've been nostalgic for my parents and my grandparents. I really want to just go to heaven and hang out with my family. Maybe I'll try and do that tonight when I go to sleep. Hopefully they'll pull me up and I can just hang out with my family and my friends that have died. So I have a lot of people in heaven, a lot. I have more people in heaven than I have on earth right now. And even though I am making new friends here and I'm appreciating that and I love that, and I still do have some good friends that I've known for decades still, but more and more I find myself missing the people that are no longer here. That's a typical that's a typical thing. It's kind of human nature, I think. So those are some of the things I've been noticing and observing. Lots of tinnitus, a lot of overwhelming energy, feeling disoriented, feeling mentally unclear, foggy, a little bit physically unstable. Like if you get up and you want to walk in a straight line somewhere, down the hall or whatever, you're kind of leaning over to the right or maybe to the other side, where you're not really walking straight. It's almost like we're drunk or punch drunk. It's really weird. It's not, it hasn't been feeling normal lately. I know I have not been feeling normal. I have been feeling the need to clean though, which is cool. That might be the Mercury retrograde energy. I have been feeling the need to sweep and tidy things up. And so I made my bed and I swept my floors, and I changed the sheets on my bed so I wouldn't be breathing in dust, or in my case, volcanic ash. Those are the kinds of things that I've been kind of going through, and I don't know. I applied for a job yesterday. I'm waiting to hear back, so I've been kind of things are up in the air. Money-wise, a lot of people have talked to me about either money issues or, fear of the future, one way or the other. For me, it's been money. But a couple of people have called me or written to me about money issues in the past 24 to 48 hours. So that's something that's on people's minds. But another friend of mine from India, he wrote me and he said that he's just so scared of the future because he doesn't want to be alone. He's really, really, really afraid of wanting to just, couple up. It's sad to live alone and be, for him, I'm like, I'm not afraid of being alone. I love myself, love my own company. I've got a cat. I'm good. If my twin never comes into my life, I'm cool. One way or the other. I really, really want him in my life, but if he decides he's too good for me because he's famous and I'm not, I don't know. It's like, all right, well, whatever. I love you, catch on the flip side, because in heaven we're definitely going to be together. So either way, can't get out of it. We're still going to be together regardless, but I hope it's sooner than later, but if it's not, whatever. I feel tired. I just feel like I'm fucking tired. I'm done. I feel like I'm done. My friend, my near twin flame Jude, he told me he feels done too. It's just, we've been here long. We're all exhausted. We're all emotionally and spiritually exhausted, if not downright physically exhausted. I know today, for me, it's been on every level, that exhaustion. It's not even just a normal fatigue. It's like a very deep, almost like a spiritual fatigue. Like I'm done. I don't want to think about this crap anymore. That kind of energy. There's another weird ascension symptom, or I don't know. Halloween is approaching, as you know. This is a really strange thing that people have been reporting. The veils are thinner. As Halloween approaches, the veils between the living and the dead worlds are very, very thin. You might be having encounters, a lot of supernatural forces, a lot of paranormal activity. I know for me, I've been seeing things out of the corner of my eye, but this has been happening for a while. But I've been, my cat has been astral projecting to me from downstairs, and she jumped on my bed, earlier today. I felt her jump on my bed, and I heard her feet. She jumped on the bed. I turned and opened my eyes, and no one was here. She was downstairs. And then about 10 minutes later, I heard her meowing downstairs. So she's astral projecting, and I'm feeling her, like what she thinks she's dreaming about. She's actually projecting here, and I felt her jump. And I've been hearing the patterns of her running across the floor, even while she's asleep. So those kinds of things are happening, but also, and this one's a biggie, my granddaughter came to me and she ran by me a little bit. She was in my, kind of in my kitchen while I was cleaning the counter. I saw her out of the corner of my eye. It was a flash of white light. Little girl, just flash of white light, just boom, gone by me. And I'm all, hey. And then she talked to me. She stopped. She's like, hi. I go, are you my granddaughter? She says, yes, I am. I go, are you going to be born soon? She says, not really soon, but she needed me and my twin flame to be together because she wants both her grandma and her grandpa before she is born. She wants to feel safe and secure. And I said, well, you better go over to your grandpa and tell him, and, tell him to get on the stick, because I really need him in my life if we're going to be good grandma and grandpa to her. And this is his, one of his children, and she's from the future. She's not, she's right now in heaven. She's not coming this year, but it's soon, in a few years. So we're kind of like, I'm kind of like hoping that everything works out right so that she and I can know each other. It's going to be awesome. But my own daughter did this to me. She came quite often to haunt me before she was born, for 10 years, in fact. So when she started haunting me, I started gathering things up for her. So by the time she was born, I had a little foot back from the land before time, when that was an actual, brand new movie in the theaters. I had bought her a little foot from then. I knew for years she was coming. And so, I don't know. It's been really weird, but a lot of people have been seeing ghosts. A lot of people are reporting just randomly, tons of ghosts. People waking them up in the middle of the night, and they wake up, they look in they open their eyes, look around, and no one's there. And it's like, oh, come on, man, Autumn Phoenix, I think she's in New York City. She says, she had a little TikTok video she made about that. She's like, you better shut the hell up, bitch. And leave me alone. I'm trying to do something over here, she, like a New Yorker screaming. But she kind of made a funny TikTok about that. The ghosts are like, woo. She's like, shut the hell up, man. So you better shut up. She's getting so irritated that all the ghosts in her house, I should probably teach her how to open a portal and send them to heaven already. But, so a lot of stuff like that is happening. Paranormal, things out of the corner of your eye, you turn and nothing's there. You hear things, you feel things, and yet nothing's really there. It's, something that a lot of people have been reporting. So I wanted to get over to spaceweather.com and read some things here. Solar wind speed is 400.7 kilometers per second. There's a brand new sunspot, which is stable. It's an actual sunspot. It's actually finally formulated. But there does not appear to be any threat of strong solar flares from it. It's kind of a small sunspot, but it is fully formed, so that's good. Today there is at sunset, which you may or may not have noticed, and tomorrow will probably be a little bit less cohesive, but the moon, Saturn, and Jupiter are converged together, forming a bright triangle in the constellation of Sagittarius. So there is maybe pictures on Space Weather. There's a link. It's a sky map. Hopefully you'll get to see it. But all I saw today was the moon, and then the clouds rolled by, and now we don't even have that. So there were strange red auras, as we discussed a few days ago, but also it's happening again. They're just they don't know where all the red auroras are coming from. They don't even know, because it doesn't seem like it should be happening. So just all of October, it's there's been massive red aurora borealis. So there's some really beautiful pictures. There's also a picture of pink and purple and green auroras that just, it looks almost like the veil that's thinning between the worlds. It's very odd looking. So in case you want to go see a really beautiful aurora borealis pictures, spaceweather.com. All right, let's see. The neutron counts coming out of Finland are high, and they've gone down by 0.6% since yesterday. So we're only at 8.6 at the space age average right now. And solar wind flowing from the network of northern corona holes will buffet Earth's magnetic field from this 22nd through the 26th. Now, yesterday they were saying the 21st through the 25th, so it looks like more cosmic radiation, more solar winds, plasma from the sun will be hitting our upper atmosphere. We're all going to be affected by that, and I feel really massively affected by it today. So just take it easy, drink plenty of water, whatever you need to eat, make sure you do eat. There are no new NASA's All-Sky Fireball Network reports. They have not updated it since yesterday, so we're going to skip that for now. Let's see here. Schumann Resonance news. Power 36 or 36 hertz frequency is what's coming out of Italy, out of disclosurenews.it. It's not much, but it's a lot more than it's been. So 36 hertz frequency is what's going on over there in Italy. Now, I don't have an up to the minute, but I have like about a day and a half ago, the HeartMath Institute from heartmath.org, O-R-G, this is what they reported for the 2300 hour of Tuesday, October 20th. California was at 77 hertz frequency. Hofuf, Saudi Arabia remains at 0. They've been at 0 for a while. Lithuania was at 136 hertz frequency. And Alberta, Canada is at 118 hertz frequency. Northland, New Zealand has 49 hertz frequency. And last but not least, on the Schumann Resonance scale, Honolulu, South Africa had 186 hertz frequency. Remember, 40 hertz is where the Schumann Resonance, the fifth dimension starts at 40 hertz. Schumann Resonance for Earth has always been 7.83. I'm starting to get bombarded by a lot more cosmic radiation in this moment. So I'm going to take a quick break and kind of get my head back. get my head back together. But when I come back, we are going to have kind of a Halloween-ish related sort of show. I think next week I wanted to do this as well, because Halloween's going to be on a Saturday, and I won't be here to do a show for you guys on Saturday. So that's pretty much where I'm at. I'm going to talk about the 43 most haunted places in the world. We'll see how many of these we can get through. I might have to revise that in the title of this show and say 30 or 25. It just depends on what we're able to get through tonight. Hopefully we'll get through all of them. I found this on Condé Nast Traveler website from last year, and it's pretty interesting stuff I didn't know. So buckle in. It might be a scary night for you. Go ahead and get yourself some popcorn. Just let this one message play. Go grab some hot chocolate and get cuddled up under the blankets, because the most haunted places in the world are about to be known to you right after this message. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's high time you did. It is the absolute easiest way to make a podcast. First of all, it's absolutely free. Second of all, they have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. You guys have known that I've been doing this for 8 months using the Anchor.fm app right on my cell phone, and I have done it everywhere, right? I have recorded this in my living room, my bedroom, little cafes in Quito, Ecuador, all over Cuenca. It's so absolutely easy to make your podcast, and editing is just a snap. Anchor also will distribute your podcast for you, and it took me about 2.5 months to become syndicated, and now I'm available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more, and so can you. You can make money from your podcast also, and there's no minimum requirement. You get paid from your very first listener. It is everything that you need to make a podcast all in one place. So please, if you are interested in making a podcast of your very own, do not hesitate to start with Anchor. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. Every year, people come up with a list of the most haunted places in the world, and I'm going to go over some of the ones that were mentioned by Condé Nast Traveler last year, written by Caitlin Morton and published on October 18th, 2019. And this looks like a pretty interesting list. 45 most haunted places in the world that are beautifully scary. And there are some beautiful pictures. You might want to check this out on cntraveler.com. So, okay, basically, everyone likes ghost stories, and so this is kind of like an early Halloween. If we don't get through the list tonight, we will get through it next week, but I also have an idea for next week, so we wanted to get into the spirit of Halloween in October, and so here we go. The first place is one I can't pronounce, Heyoka Forest, Romania. I'm sure I'm saying this wrong. But basically there was a UFO hovering in the forest in 1968, and a military technician captured a photograph of this UFO hovering over this forest in Romania. And since then, again, can't pronounce it, Heyoka has gained paranormal notoriety around the world. And a lot of people believe it is a portal that causes visitors to disappear. Oh, that's really creepy. So people who have passed through the forest without being zapped into another realm come out on the other end reporting rashes, nausea, and feelings of anxiety. Well, that just sounds like ascension to me. Ascension flu symptoms, anyone? Okay, so according to the Independent Known, this is called the Bermuda Triangle of Transylvania. Oh, interesting. And it's known for its spooky curved trees, and the forest there just has a very, very eerie atmosphere. There's a picture of the curved trees there. I wish we had a picture of the actual UFO that was hovering over it, because I bet that was an interesting photo. I might have to go look for that one later. All right, so the next place is in Canada. It is a really beautiful, looks like a castle, the Fairmont Banff, Banff Springs Hotel in Canada. It was built in 1888. Well, there's your angel number for the day, 888. Oh, and speaking of wild numbers, earlier I was watching Anne of Quantum Heart Living, and during her timeline number 1 and timeline number 2 shifts video, she literally did 2 different videos and hooked them together saying, well, wanted this is for whatever timeline you're on. I thought that was pretty clever of her. But she, at minute 4 and 33 seconds, she was like going along, just talking normally, and all of a sudden, right at that second, she says, "Wow." And when she said, "Wow," I looked and I read that at 4:33 in the afternoon. So I thought that was strange. So 4:33 or just 33, there's another angel number for you. So you could look that up on the Purple and Pink Angel Numbers app, which I do highly recommend. If you don't have it already, it is free in your iStore or your Google Play Store. Okay, so anyway, this hotel in Canada, Fairmont Banff Springs, one was built to obviously encourage tourism and sell train tickets. It's a chateau-style hotel, which is very pretty in the Rocky Mountains in Banff National Park. Why did I always think the Banff National Park was in Colorado? Okay, anyway. It says it gets really gothic, though, once you get inside. And they're not talking about the architecture. The Calgary Herald, they say, reported several resident ghosts, including a bride who fell down a stone staircase during her wedding. Ooh, it's like Corpse Bride. Oh my gosh, you can't get any more Halloweeny than that movie. I love the Corpse Bride movie. But she, yeah, that's not good. So there's a less tragic spirit there that does haunt the place, though. Sam the bellman, who worked at the hotel until 1975, and claimed he would come back to haunt the joint, quote unquote. His spirit supposedly pulls shifts, and wow, that's crazy. So he has like hours he haunts, helping people with their bags, and then he disappears. Well, that's really creepy. It's wild that he's able to manipulate matter like that from beyond. So that's something. The next place is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the Eastern State Penitentiary. Ooh, so creepy. It is a castle-like Eastern State Penitentiary. Took solitary confinement to new levels. Built in 1829, prisoners lived alone and they exercised alone. They ate alone. And when an inmate left his cell, a guard would cover his head with a hood so he couldn't see or see anything. He couldn't be seen or see anyone. The prison had to abandon the solitary system due to overcrowding in 1913, although forms of punishment did not get less severe. Chaining an inmate's tongue to his wrists? Ooh, there's a lot of bad karma gonna go towards the guards for that one. That's really creepy. So it closed for good, thank God, in 1970. The site now welcomes thousands of visitors every year because of the Halloween celebrations and its museum. Lots of reported paranormal happenings occur and includes a disembodied laughter, quite a bit, shadowy figures, and pacing footsteps. Well, that just gave me the chills. What about you guys? It's a nice Halloween story there, right? Ooh, so creepy. In India is where we go next, to Bangarth Fort. 100 miles southwest of Delhi, these are lush ruins. The Bangarth Fort makes for a curious juxtaposition against the desert landscape of Rajasthan. You know, I never knew that there was a desert in India until right this very minute, but it does make sense because the Bhagavad Gita of 4,000 years ago, or plus or minus, maybe plus, might be 5,000 years old, it does talk about nuclear war, so it makes sense. There's a desert in Peru, and I have a feeling that that was a nuclear war issue as well. Many thousands of years ago as well. So, yeah, Rajasthan, strange. So, to this day, the oasis remains largely uninhabited due to an alleged curse that was cast by a disgruntled sorcerer, of course, after his advances were rebuffed by a local princess. Now, if you like your trips scary, They say, or more spiritual than haunted. Travelers, former editor-at-large Hanya Yanagihara suggested if you salute the sun during a session of pre-dusk yoga at the site. So I don't know that I would go to a haunted site and do my yoga. It's like ruins look crazy, like just a pile of rubble right there at the edge of the desert. It's really creepy. I think I'd rather settle for a nice hotel in town. Chateau de Brissac in Brissac, Cannes. I don't even know how to pronounce this. It looks like Quince in Spanish. It's BRISSAC-QUINCE. Brissac, Quince. I don't know. France. It's a beautiful chateau. Wow, beautiful grounds too. It's one of the tallest castles in all of France. It's 7 stories. Oh my goodness. That is very tall. Can you imagine going up those stairs? Woo! 7-story Chateau de Brissac perhaps is best known for the home of the Green Lady, which is also known as the Ghost of Charlotte of France. Now, the website, you can go check it out. The Chateau's website tells a legend of Charlotte. She was the illegitimate daughter of King Charles VII, who was murdered by her husband after he discovered her having an affair. And she's named for the color of her dress, the Green Lady. That's what she was wearing when she was killed, so that's why they call her that, I guess. And she can sometimes be found roaming the chapel's tower room and moaning in the early hours of the morning. Ha. Okay, so the next one, Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado. Yeah, I've heard about this one. The Stanley Hotel's stately Georgian architecture and world-renowned whiskey bar have lured travelers from all over the world since opening in 1909 in Estes Park, Colorado. But the hotel reached new levels of fame after inspiring Stephen King to create The Shining. Wow. That's how he created the Overlook Hotel, was after visiting this place. So the eerie association aside, many other ghost sightings and mysterious piano music have been connected to the hotel. The Stanley Hotel leans into its reputation with nightly ghost tours and psychic consultations from the in-house Madame Vera. Vera meaning truth. So the next place is in Argentina. La Recoleta Cemetery in Buenos Aires. Ooh, this is a beautiful place. Oh, wow. I love the architecture. It's super old. They say you don't have to be religious to be moved by La Recoleta Cemetery. It features thousands of statues, mausoleums, fairy tale grottos, and intricate tombstones, as well as the remains of Argentina's most iconic figure, of course. Have we all heard of Evita, otherwise known as Eva Perón? The stone walkways in the labyrinth of mausoleums are as beautiful as they are eerie. And La Recoleta has a couple haunted legends of its own. One of the most famous stories involves David Ageno, a former gravedigger and caretaker. He worked himself at the cemetery for 30 years. Then he killed himself there, I guess. Today, people report hearing Ageno's keys jangling when his ghost is walking the pathways at dawn. Probably what he did when he was living, too. That's really creepy. Woo! Tower of London in England is the next place. Of course it is. Built by William the Conqueror in 1066. By the way, he was Shirley MacLaine's lover in one of her past lives. And when she was walking the Camino, you can read her book, The Camino. When she was walking the Camino, she decided to take a bedroll and lay down next to a river. And I think it's on a ley line. The Camino is huge. It's like 500 miles, and it's really, really supernatural. I mean, a lot of things happen there. Anything you're afraid of is going to happen there. And you have to face your fears on this journey. And everybody who's taken the spiritual nature of it seriously has gone through some pretty intense stuff. And Shirley MacLaine reports in her book that she just didn't want to hang out with anyone in the hostels. It was kind of freaking her out. She wanted to be alone for a while, so she took out her bedroll, and I think she had a little tent, and she just camped out by a river for one night. And that was the night that she dreamt she was with William the Conqueror, and he said, "I'm really here. I walked on this Camino myself when I was having a spiritual crisis, and I wanted to remind you of our love and how we were together." And she thought that was really wild. And for the rest of her trip, he kept coming to her in dreams the whole time she was walking the Camino. So here we go about, let's say here, William Conqueror, his Tower of London he built in 1066. It's an uncompromising fortress with many functions. It's best known for the bloody history, though, as a prison and an execution site. Henry VIII famously ordered execution of two of his wives there, Anne Boleyn and Catherine Howard. This is where two young princes were imprisoned after the death of their father, King Edward IV. They disappeared shortly after 1483, and their remains were not found until 1647. Unsurprisingly, of course, ghost stories of the tower's victims and ghost tours through the historical royal palaces abound. Yeah, I can imagine. It's really beautiful, but also now very creepy now that we know the stories behind it. This next one, I wish I could go here. United Arab Emirates, Jazirat al-Hamra. You will find that the nearly abandoned town of Jazirat al-Hamra is 14 miles southwest of Ras Al Khaimah. I don't know how to say this. Khaimah, that's it. Khaimah, in the northeast portion of the United Arab Emirates. It's located between a huge mall and a huge water park. Oh, that, of course, that's really crazy. You look at this place, it looks like it's literally in the middle of the desert, in the middle of nowhere. You would never know in a million years it's between a mall and a water park. But established in the 14th century, this town grew into a thriving pearl fishing village in the 1830s. Well, that's interesting. And then it was suddenly abandoned out of nowhere in 1968. Again with the year I was born. It's not been lost to me that now two of these stories tonight have had something to do with the year I was born. Crazy. All right. The town now consists of dirt roads, 13, there's a lucky number, angel death number, 13 mosques, and more than 300 coral and mud-built houses. Of course, there's resident spirits there. People claim that visitors are bound to experience really strange noises, chilling apparitions, and usually it's attributed to genies or jinns that come in the form of animals. Well, that's really wild. I would love to go visit that place. I love jinn. I like working with the jinn people. They are supposedly made of fire. They're invisible to us, although they can appear to us. But if they die in our world, they die. That's it. So they don't generally appear often unless they really, really trust you, know they're going to be safe. All right, St. Augustine Lighthouse in Florida. I have heard of this place. In fact, I think a couple people have written to me about this. Michelle did write to me. She lives in Florida right now. And she did tell me about this last year, St. Augustine Lighthouse. The St. Augustine Lighthouse is visited nearly by 225,000 people every year, but it is known for otherworldly visitors as well. Several tragic events occurred there at the now historic site and have contributed to paranormal activity. The ghost in the lighthouse fell to his death He was the lighthouse keeper while painting the tower. Ooh. Yeah, you got to watch out for the ladders, guys. This ghost has been spotted watching over the grounds, and ever since this horrific death, there was another horrific death of 3 young girls. They all drowned when the cart they were playing in broke and fell into the ocean. Well, be careful of carts as well. Just, anything on that staircase, apparently. It's quite nefarious. Wow, that's creepy. Visitors claim that they hear the sound of children playing in and around the lighthouse quite often. Well, let's go now to the to the left coast, San Diego, California, Whaley House. Thomas Whaley, Whaley, built his family estate in 1857 on the former site of San Diego's first public gallows. Well, there's his first mistake, isn't it? Ooh. Shortly after he moved in, he reported hearing the heavy footsteps of Yankee Jim Robinson, who was a drifter and a thief who had been hanged on the site 4 years before the house had been built. Whaley's family history ended up being filled with tragic deaths and suicides. Well, that's really, really, really creepy. Many of which occurred inside the home itself. According to the Whaley House Museum, some of the family members still haunt the landmark, and they are often accompanied by, the hauntings are often accompanied by cigar smoke and the smell also of heavy perfume. Quite creepy. In Lithuania, they have a hill of crosses. People have been placing crosses on this spot at northern portion of Lithuania since the 14th century, again at the 14th century, and for various reasons. Throughout the medieval period, the symbols expressed a desire for Lithuanian independence. Then, after a peasant uprising in 1831, people began adding to the site more crosses in remembrance of the dead rebels. This hill became a place of defiance once again during Soviet occupation from 1944 to 1991. I did not know the Soviets occupied that territory for almost 50 years. That's really creepy. Now, while the crosses and the hill were bulldozed by the Soviets 3 different times, the locals kept rebuilding it. Now there are 100,000 crosses there, crowded all together. And when the wind blows across the fields of rural Šiauliai County, ornate rosaries will clink against the metal and the wooden crucifixes, and it fills the air with eerie chimes. According to Egli Geralitite, I can't even say these names. Anyway, he wrote that in 2017 for the BBC. That is really creepy. This picture is wild. Again, cntraveler.com if you want to check these pictures of these places out. So the next place that we go to, of course, no list of most haunted places would be complete without Edinburgh Castle in Scotland. One of the biggest attractions in Scotland's capital city, is considered to be one of the most haunted as well. With sections dating back more than 900 years, this historic fortress, ancient dungeons have led visitors to the castle to report sightings of colonial prisoners from the American Revolutionary War. Well, that's weird. Why were there colonial prisoners in Scotland? I did not know that even happened. Did you guys know that? There were French prisoners from the 7 Years' War, and even the ghost of a dog wandering the castle's dog cemetery. Well, that's about right. But so they just pulled in prisoners from all over the world? That's really, really creepy. I mean, wow. Or basically the British decided to take their prisoners and pop them into Edinburgh into Scotland's prison. That's so creepy. All right, we're going to move on from there. We're going to go to Georgia next, to Forsyth Park in Savannah, Georgia. Oh, this place is beautiful. There was a movie, a really eerie movie, that had one of the scenes in this park. I recognize it. Ugh, and I don't know why I'm not thinking about it, but I remember it being a kind of really creepy movie. Anyway, the entire city of Savannah is pretty much a giant ghost story. That's what they're saying. It feels like it to me when I look at these pictures, due in large part to the mysterious tunnels that run below the town streets. The underground structures play a major role in many of Savannah's most haunted locations, including Forsyth Park. And there's like a fountained green space that you recognize from a couple postcards, they say. Savannah Magazine, doctors at the adjacent Candler Hospital, which is now known as the Savannah Law School, and they had performed autopsies in the tunnels below. That's really creepy. Maria Pinheiro, an historian and spokesperson for the Ghost City Tours, says that below the surface rumblings make Forsyth Park particularly ripe for sightings of shadowy, now you see them, now you don't figures. That's a really, really icky, yucky energy. Obvodny Castle, I'm sorry, not Castle, Canal. Let me try this again. Obvodny Canal in St. Petersburg, Russia is the next place. Running 5 miles throughout St. Petersburg, the Obvodny Canal goes by another more sinister name, Suicide Canal. Oh, that's really creepy. That reminds me of the forest in Japan. Ever since the artificial canal started being built in the late 18th century, strange events have surrounded the site, including construction workers complaining of headaches, sudden outbursts of violence, and suicide. So most of the suicide attempts have been successful. People who've been saved claimed they don't even know why they jumped into the water. They felt like an invisible force had been pulling them off of the banks down into the water. Some claim the force comes from restless souls that are lurking beneath the surface of the water. That's really creepy. And claiming to even see a woman in white floating just beneath the surface before suddenly disappearing. Ooh, sounds like a siren. That's really crazy. So if you ever find yourself in St. Petersburg on a gloomy day, maybe just stick to the sidewalks and don't actually go visit the canal. Now, in Chicago, there is the Oriental Theater, formerly called the Iroquois Theater. Now, why would they even... I'm not even with the names, all right? Ghosts are said to haunt the Oriental Theater in the Loop area of downtown Chicago. And 600 people died there after a fire famously broke out in 1903. That's according to Atlas Obscura. Even though the theater was completely rebuilt and rebranded, spirits of the dead still remain there, and apparitions have been seen in Death Alley, the street behind the theater, where bodies were stacked up after the disaster, and a common stop on the Chicago Ghost Tour. Now I'm wondering if that's not the one that was the fire that was that broke out after a cow kicked a bucket. I don't know what was in the bucket of fire. That doesn't make sense. But do you guys remember that? The famous story where a cow kicked a bucket and one thing led to another, like the game of Mousetrap, and suddenly a whole town was on fire, or part of Chicago, I think it was. Anyway, I don't know if that's the one caused by the cow or not. Very, very strange. Let me go ahead and see where we're at minute-wise. 28 minutes. We got plenty of time. Good. All right. Next place, Rainham Hall in Norfolk, England. Built around 1620, the 7,000-acre Rainham Hall is one of the most impressive estates in Norfolk. As in the case with most historical buildings, of course they have a fair share of legends and ghost stories, most notably ones that are surrounding Lady Dorothy otherwise known as Dolly. Dolly Townshend was the wife of Viscount Turnip Townshend. I don't even want to know why he's called Turnip. Okay. The couple lived in Raynham Hall during the 18th century, during which time Dolly was reportedly locked up in her house by her husband. That's why they call him Turnip. I don't know, because he's dumbass. I don't know. Lady Dorothy's ghost is now said to haunt the estate, as proven by a photo taken of her in the 1930s. No one's ever been able to prove the picture is a fake. So that was told to the BBC by Lord Charles Raynham, which is the home's current resident. That's crazy. That's beautiful. Massive place in England there. The next place is in Iceland, in Reykjavik. Hofti House. Ooh. It looks really bleak. Of course, it is Iceland. Overlooking Reykjavik's waterfront, the Hofti House mostly is famous for hosting a meeting between Ronald Reagan and Mikhail Gorbachev in 1986, which was a historical moment during the end of the Cold War. Yeah, it was. The house has housed many famous figures over the years, including Queen Elizabeth, Winston Churchill, and Marlene Dietrich. Also, a handful of British ambassadors. It was one such ambassador who first experienced the White Lady. This is a ghost who many believe to be a victim of suicide. The Phantom Lady apparently caused so much panic and distress that the ambassador persuaded the British Foreign Office to sell the house immediately. Ooh, really creepy. Oh, well, let's go to the Forbidden City in Beijing, China next. This is a place I looked into living. I wanted to go live with the monks, basically, the kung fu priests, or no, monks they call them, in the Forbidden City. They teach you, for $600 a month, they will teach you several different forms of martial arts, including Qigong and Kung Fu. This is where Bruce Lee went to train, and you are allowed to live there for, I think, 2.5 years, and the final training is only for very special people who advance, and then you get that last 6 months where you get the advanced martial arts that only the monks know, and not very many people get to do that. Most people live there for 2 years, and then they are asked to leave because they know that's as far as they're allowed to go. And I met a man in Detroit. He works at one of the oldest Chinese restaurants in Detroit, but he's from China originally. And when he was 5 years old, his parents dropped him off, and he got to live there. And he said, "Do you believe it? I got to live there for free, and I got to learn and train in Kung Fu for free. And they were so nice to me. It's like I had 1,000 fathers." And then I got to come home with my parents a couple years later. And I told him, "It's not for free, buddy. It's $600 a month." And he's like, "No way." I had no idea. When I met him, he was like in his 70s. And so this has been going on for a long time. But anybody who wishes to train in the martial arts and learning how to meditate in the style of the Kung Fu masters, they teach you how to meditate, and you get to live in dormitories, and it's pretty cool. So it's a place I've always wanted to go, at least for 6 months, maybe even longer. But the Forbidden City in Beijing, China, here we go. If you go to China, you have to go there. This is the former Imperial Palace that now serves as a museum. Of course, like I just said, also home to all the monks that do Kung Fu. But you might not know that the popular tourist destination has a big reputation among the enthusiasts of the supernatural. During the 600-year tenure as a palace, this complex has had its fair share of murders. Ooh, I did not know that. Whether from jealous concubines or poisoning one another, or executions performed at the emperor's behest. Ooh, creepy. Needless to say, there's many reports of strange phenomena since the palace opened to the public in the 1940s. The most common story involves a woman dressed in white, as most good ghost stories do, of course, and she's strolling around the grounds and sobbing. Oh, this is a fun one. The Queen Mary in Long Beach, California. The RMS Queen Mary. I have been aboard this beautiful ship, and I loved it. They sell wine soap there, and it cleared up my acne. So if you're ever in Long Beach and you have acne, go check it out. Their gift shop is amazing. So aside from being a brief warship, just for a very short period of time, during World War II, the RMS Queen Mary did serve as a luxury ocean liner from 1936 to 1967. During that time, it was a site of at least one murder, and it was because a sailor... Oh no, this is another one. One murder, and also a sailor was crushed to death by a door in the engine room. Ooh, that's creepy. And children drowned in the pool aboard the ship. So the city of Long Beach purchased the ship in 1967, turned it into a hotel, and it still serves the purpose today, even though there are reported ghosts of the deceased passengers. And the ghosts, of course, get to stay in the hotel for free. But for an extra dose of spine-tingling experiences, they say try to visit the engine room, considered by many to be a hotbed of paranormal activity. Well, here's the next one. Leap Castle in Coolderry, Ireland, built by sometime between the 13th and 15th centuries. This Irish castle has had many gruesome deaths. It says seen more gruesome deaths than a Game of Thrones wedding. I never saw Game of Thrones. That's pretty crazy. So anyway, as legend has it, during a struggle for power with the O'Carroll clan, which had a fondness for poisoning dinner guests. Putin much? Did you put in any poison in my food? Actually, Putin poisons tea. But anyway, one member plunged a sword into his brother during dinner, I guess. It was a priest as he was holding Mass. Oh, during Mass. Damn. So during Mass in the castle's chapel, the priest got a sword through the chest by his brother. Great. The room is now called the Bloody Chapel, of course. And the priest is said to haunt the church at night. And the horror doesn't end there. Oh, great. More stories. At least not according to the macabre history outlined on the Leap Castle's website. I bet that would be scary reading. During renovations in the early 1900s, workmen found a secret dungeon in the Bloody Chapel with many human skeletons. Now, they filled 3 cartloads of skeletons to haul them away. Ooh. The dungeon was designed so that prisoners would fall through a trap door and have their lungs punctured by wooden spikes on the ground and die a slow, horrific death within earshot of the sinister clan members above. Well, you know what? Fuck you, O'Carroll clan. I'm glad the castle has been abandoned. What about you guys? Really creepy. Castle of Good Hope. Why is it always a castle? Cape Town, South Africa. It's always like castles and hotels. Have you guys noticed that? So, a sprawling building near the shoreline of Table Bay, the Castle of Good Hope, dates back to 1666. Well, there's an angel number for you, 666. Just perfect for this Halloween episode. It makes this oldest colonial building in South Africa that was originally built by the Dutch East India Company as a replenishment station for ships. This site was also serving as a military fortress and a prison during the Second Boer War from 1899 to 1902. Now today you can tour the fort's many rooms and buildings including the gruesome torture chamber. Yuck, yuck, yuck. But you might want to prepare yourself for a ghost sighting if you go. Back in the 1700s, Governor Peter Van Noot, Noodt, condemned several men to be hanged to death. One of the men cursed the governor from the gallows, and Van Noot died of a heart attack later that day. So according to the Castle of Good Hope and their official website, his ghost has been haunting the battlements ever since. Crumlin Road Gaol, Belfast, Northern Ireland. So Crumlin Road Gaol, Gaol, a Victorian-era prison in Belfast, it's said to be one of the most haunted sites in all of Ireland. It's referred to Europe's Alcatraz. They used to have 25,000 inmates of men, women, and children. Ooh. During 150 years of operation, they publicly hung many prisoners and buried bodies within the prison walls. Yeah, that's going to make for a few hauntings. The institution officially shut the doors in 1996, thank God. But the ghosts of the deceased inmates are said to still roam the iron walkways today. Now, if this sounds like the sort of place you want to spend time in, you're in luck. Crumlin Road Gaol offers daily tours, live concerts, and reasonably priced meals at its in-house or in-prison restaurant. It even serves as a venue for conferences and, oh my good God, weddings. It's very odd, very creepy. If you want to go next with me to Venice, Italy, we will have to go to Poveglia Island. This is half a mile from the canals, I still can't say this word, from the canals, there we go, of Venice. Poveglia Island has served as a quarantine zone for the bubonic plague victims, storage space for Napoleon's weapons, and the site of a 20th century insane asylum. Of course it has. I was wondering when we're going to get to those words, insane asylum. The asylum played host to horrific medical experiments, reports the Travel Channel. Finally, it was closed for good, thank God, when a doctor threw himself off the institution's bell tower. It's always the bell tower that gets you. Locals still claim to hear echoing chimes from this island, even though the bell was removed decades ago. Ooh, so creepy. It's illegal to visit Poveglia today, but you can see the island and the decaying hospital safely from a distance on the beaches of nearby Lido. So creepy. Well, here's another creepy place, the catacombs of Paris, France. Yes. Very creepy. After a prolonged bout of heavy rains flooded the unearthed and overcrowded Les Innocents cemetery in the spring of 1780, a wave of rotting corpses tumbled onto the property next door. They just tumbled there randomly? Oh, so creepy. According to Smithsonian Magazine, this horrific event started a 12-year project to remove the bodies from Paris's cemeteries down into the city's former limestone quarries, which, that's really creepy. Eventually they ended up with 6 million bodies down there. So about a mile of subterranean labyrinth space is open to the visitors, who can take tours in the tunnels and see the artfully arranged displays of bones. I went to catacombs in Lima, Peru, and I thought, well, it's really creepy that a couple hundred years ago they arranged these bodies in all these crazy positions, and they made art out of bones, and I thought that was really creepy. So I asked the lady, when was this built? And she said, not that long ago, a couple 10 years ago, 10 or 20 years ago. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, in fact, none of this was all sealed off. And then they decided to go dig up all the bones and arrange them in pretty patterns with the skeletons. And charge money to go visit them. While we were there, my daughter saw a rock scratch itself. And all the dirt was falling on the ground. I felt the hands of dead people touching me. It was really, really, really creepy. And I released a lot of spirits from that place in Lima, Peru. It was, I think, it wasn't San Francisco, although that place is also haunted. There was, I can't remember the name of that place, but really, really creepy. The catacombs in Lima, Peru. It's worth the price of admission. They do have English tours. It was really creepy, though. All right. So the next place we're going to go is Larnac Castle in New Zealand. And by the way, the catacombs are built around this monastery in which most of the monks decided to go take the show on the road, where they were all promptly murdered in Morocco and their bodies brought back and buried in these catacombs. It's because, you're not supposed to go preach to other people about your religion, because it's freaking annoying, and the Moroccans were not hearing it. Anyway, New Zealand, Larnac Castle was built in 1871, and it took until 1887 to complete it, and it served as a residence of William Larnac, a prominent local politician, most notably as the 3,000 square foot ballroom, where Larnac had built a 21st birthday present for his favorite daughter, Kate, who later died of typhoid at the age of 26. That's pretty sad. And said that she is still haunting the ballroom today. Now, don't chalk those taps up on your shoulder and whispers in your ear as imagination. The building has been visited by paranormal investigators. It was featured on Ghost Hunters International. So I guess they have deemed it to be actually real. So let me see where we're at with minutes. Oh, good. We're at 45 minutes. We have a little bit of time. All right, so Ancient Ram Inn, Wotan-under-Edge, England. Built in 1145, England's Ancient Ram Inn has played many roles over the centuries. It was a former priest's residence, housing for masons and slaves alike, and it was an inn and also a public house. What does that mean, public house? I think it's a place where you go and drink. Anyway, it happens to be very seriously haunted as well. Architectural Digest mentioned, with ghostly children, a high priestess, and even an incubus. They say, Google it, but you're warned. Don't say you weren't warned. All these things are wandering the halls, and guests have reportedly leapt from the windows in a frenzy to escape. It looks like such a cute, unassuming place. I bet you could buy it for next to nothing. All right, I don't want it though. Now, Zunantunik, Belize, is a place that's deep in the jungle of Belize. This is 1 mile from the Guatemalan border. Oh, yeah, okay. This must be the area that I was looking at when I was in Livingstone, Guatemala. You could see Belize on a clear day. So this looks like the place I was looking at. Very interesting. So this is an ancient Mayan ruin that was sitting abandoned for about a millennium. An earthquake caused the original civilization to crumble, and the complex was rediscovered by explorers in the 1890s. Well, since then, Zunantunik has served as an important archaeological site, an under-the-radar tourist attraction, and hotbed of ghostly sightings. This ancient city is said to have been haunted by one female ghost, a black-haired lady with red glowing eyes. First, she was spotted by one of the earliest research teams in 1893, and she has been spotted near the tallest building in the complex called El Castillo many times since then. Nobody knows exactly who the so-called Stone Lady is, but a lot of people speculate that she might have been a human sacrifice whose death ritual was performed on top of the El Castillo pyramid. Well, that is quite creepy indeed. Nevis is the next place in St. Kitts. Eden Brown Estate is often, let's see, okay, I'm trying to get through this travel business here. So Eden Brown Estate in Nevis is pretty much for the more morbidly inclined. The Eden Brown Estate is a former plantation that now lies in ruins, and it was originally owned by a wealthy businessman who intended to give the property to his daughter as a wedding present, but a mysterious duel between the groom and the best man left both of the men dead on the day of the wedding, and the daughter remained unmarried and alone for the rest of her life. And now today, many visitors say that they've seen the reclusive woman's spirit that roams through the estate. Italy, Ponte Sisto, Rome is the next place. This looks creepy, this place. They say there's a lot of stories in Rome, but this is one you might not know. These stories sometimes are downright creepy. One of these stories is Ponte Sisto, a romantic bridge spanning the Tiber River near Rome's city center. Local legend has it that if you visit the bridge at sunrise, you'll see a charging carriage helmed by the ghost of Olympia Maidalcini, Pope Innocent X's advisor. So her nickname was the female pope. The spectral occurrence is said to be Olympia's attempt to flee the city with the church's gold. Ooh. Just as allegedly she did after Pope Innocent X's death in 1655. While the Ponte Sisto is closed to pedestrian traffic, you can visit the bridge as part of Dark Rome's daily Ghosts, Mysteries, and Legends of Rome night walking tour. Wow. The Langham Hotel in London, England is where we go next. There are spirits so active at this 153-year-old hotel that it has driven out then several national team cricket players from England. Back in 2014, they cited sudden heat and lights and unexplained presence during the nighttime. The ghosts have long been associated with the Tony Hotel. It says, according to Visit Britain, it's thought to house elite spirits, such as the former resident Emperor Louis Napoleon III and a German prince who jumped to his death from the upper level window. That's really creepy. In Mexico, we have the Isla de las Muñecas, otherwise known as the Island of the Dolls. That is creepy as hell. It's worth visiting cntraveler.com to see this picture if you like really super creepy things. Despite the status of a UNESCO World Heritage Site for its well-preserved example of Aztec life, the neighborhood of Xochimilco has received certain amount of internet fame for the Island of the Dolls. It's hidden among the region's many canals. The site is famous for hundreds of dolls and parts of dolls that are hanging from the trees and scattered among the grass. While it might look more like a horror movie set, the Chinampa, which is kind of like artificial island, used to be the residence of a now deceased man named Julian Santabarrera. After finding a dead girl's body in a nearby canal, Barrera collected and displayed these toys in the hopes of warding off evil spirits. Well, it does ward off my spirit for damn sure. No one wants to visit this. It's creepy, according to National Geographic. So daring souls can hire their own boat and go view the island safely from the water if you want. It's really, really creepy. So creepy. All right, let's see where we're at minute-wise. We're at 53 minutes, maybe 2 more minutes worth. So, Borgvattnet Haunted Vicarage in Ragunda, Sweden is where we go next. Built originally in 1876, weird happenings have been noted in the parsonage since the 1960s. The gray wooden structure now serves as a bed and breakfast. In a rural area, with snowmobiling, fishing, and, well, not a whole lot else. That's enough for me. I love snowmobiling. Just, feed me breakfast and get me on a snowmobile. I will do that all day long. It's like a motorcycle on the snow. What could be more better than that? Nothing. Nothing in this world, I tell you. Maybe, plummeting down a large sand dune head first. That's also super fun. Okay, but I digress. Guests at Borgvatnet had claimed to hear footsteps, music, and the sound of 3 crying ladies coming from the inn. The proprietors will reward you with a certificate that says you stayed through the night if you dare. Well, I dare. I'll go there. That's very, very, it's a beautiful place. And I would go snowmobiling. I would love to have that certificate. Because at the end of the day, I would probably open up a portal and send those ghosts to heaven. All right, Teatro Tapia, San Juan, Puerto Rico. Here we go. Known for its natural beauty and rich history, Puerto Rico is also home to a lot of eerie experiences. They have a lot of spooky sites that are famous. And this island includes Teatro Tapia. This is a theater known for plays, concerts, and paranormal activities, or actividades. According to urban myths, an actress fell to her death while she was performing at the theater, and she, of course, returned to haunt the venue, probably because the show must go on. That's what I'd like to believe about her. She probably had that fortitude and that iron, indomitable will that many actors have. The show must go on. Some visitors claim that they have seen her ghost wandering the theater grounds, and other people have reported mysterious footsteps sounding, doors swinging open and shut, and an unseen choir of voices coming from the stage. Teatro Tapia still holds frequent ballet and music performances, so if you purchase a ticket, you might see the local acts and maybe a local ghost while you're at it. So, let's see where we're at. I think that is a good stopping point. So there we go. I hope you have enjoyed this episode of Metaphysical Soul Speak, the podcast. I want to thank you for liking, subscribing, forwarding, and telling all your Facebook group people, Twitter followers, as well as the people that follow you on Instagram. Thank you for the @ mentions. I've gotten several of them lately, so I wanted to say thank you to all of you. I love you guys, and I wanted to say thank you for being on the spiritual journey with me. I'm glad we were able to take a break from our spiritual stuff and delve into some fun Halloween haunted stories. I hope that maybe you enjoyed it, and also I hope you guys sleep well. Ooh, I'll be back tomorrow night with all original and unique programming, just like always. In fact, tomorrow is Earth Changes Report and the weekly Weird World News. So hopefully you'll come back and join us. Join us tomorrow for that. So that's it. That's all she wrote. And I bid you adieu. Signing off with peace and joy and the high vibes of the Holy Fifth Dimension. Until next time, guys, peace. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you.